Hi. So our system is based on basically the availability of medical air and medical oxygen at the hospital. We assume that there are two outlets in the patient's room that are regulated at 50 psi. We have basically two regulators here that allow us to reduce that pressure a little bit to run now around 15-20 psi, something like that, under operating conditions. Here we have emergency ball valves that allow us to turn on or off the supply. So oxygen is coming in on one side, air is coming in on the other side. The next component is a servo-controlled ball valve here, which the electronics control to regulate the pressure to the patient, and as well as the mix between the air and the oxygen. So opening one valve more than the other will let in more air or more oxygen, and so on. The air and the oxygen mix here at the T. They go through a flow meter. Then they go to a relief valve to make sure that the pressure never goes too high at the patient. There's a pressure sensor here, goes through a one-way valve here, HEPA filter, down the circuit, all the way to the patient. This is a test lung that we have in place to validate the system. Now the air comes back out through the exhaust tubing here, through another HEPA filter, another one-way valve, another pressure sensor, and finally a last flow sensor. And that allows us to compute basically the pressure at all points in the system as well as the flow at all points in the system. Everything is controlled by the electronics here. The control of the machine itself is performed by this microcontroller, so all the critical functions. It uses USB connection to talk to a host computer, which could be PC, Windows, Mac, Linux, whatever, that displays our UI here. So this UI, basically its job is to display the state of the system and accept control input for the system. So here, for example, if we select a parameter, we can select which parameter we want to adjust at the bottom. And there's an area here where eventually there'll be visual feedback, but we can just adjust the value up and down. So we can adjust the PEEP, for example, up and down. And as the system receives this input, it responds in real time. All right, so I'm going to turn the system on now. We'll see it operating. So we turned on the pressure, and here we're about 15 breaths per minute. So you can see that basically the servos are opening and closing to inflate and deflate the lung. If we increase the respiratory rate, you can see that it'll occur faster. If we turn it lower, so it responds in real time. If we adjust, for example, the FiO2, you can see that one of the servos remains much closed compared to the other one. And if we go to 100% O2, the roles reverse.